So tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, and here we are. It's the kick-off moment for Connected Educator Month down here in New Zealand and Victoria, Australia, and very shortly I know it will be kicking off in the States and other countries as well, but the day has dawned bright and sunny down here in New Zealand, Aotearoa, and so we're absolutely delighted to have a wonderful group of guests with us this morning to help launch what we hope will be 31 amazing days of educators being connected online, connecting to each other, collaborating around the focus areas that are important for them and their learners. In a moment, I'm going to hand over to Whare, who is with us to formally settle us in and open up the proceedings. But can I just outline a couple of key things for housekeeping, particularly for those of you who haven't worked in an online workshop space before. My name is Karen Malua-Spencer. I'm lucky enough to be bringing Connected Educator Month to New Zealand, and it's wonderful to be here with so many colleagues and supporters. So just a couple of general things for us to bear in mind while we're in the room. If we can keep our mics to mute, so that's the green icon with a microphone icon with a line through it, that just prevents echo, and having headphones on is really useful. There is, if you have a look at the icon with the little hand up, you can use that if you want to raise your hand and ask a question. So do use that if you need to. And the chat box, which is in the top of the middle column, you can use that to share comments and ask questions. And we have Nathaniel Lowrens in the room, who is providing technical support as well. So do draw on that expertise if you need to. It's worth mentioning that these sessions are recorded and that they'll be archived on the Connected Educator site. And we do have a team members here from CORE who are going to be keeping shared notes and sharing things on Twitter, tagged to CENZ14 for this particular session. And one final comment, that if you present or participate in a Connected Educator session, you can work towards one of the digital badges that we have got running through the whole month. There will be an evaluation form at the end, and do sign up on the website for news and follow CENZ and CE14 tags all the way through October. Okay. So I'd like to hand over now to sorry, there's a typo on there. It should say Whare Hoka Wano, who is my colleague here in Core Education, who is going to open the proceedings for us this morning. So handing over to you, Whare.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou te wānau. Ka tika me mihi atu i ratu i tō tātou reo, te reo o Aotearoa. Kia koutou ki roto i te reiria, kia koutou o roto Amerika. Tēnei kaupapa nui, me ki ko te whatu tangata, ngā tangata te whatu ngā mātanga, i ra katu me te karakia. Kia hora te marino, kia waka papa pauna mu te moana, hei huarahi mā tātou i te rangi nei. Aroha atu, aroha mai tātou i a tātou katoa, hui e tā aiki e norira tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou ko mātou tonu o te whānau koa e tangi atu nei, e mihi atu nei kia koutou katoa, puta i te ao, puta i te motu, mihi ana ko tō mātou waka, ko te rangi Māori e, te o e o runga kopuna te aroa, o i anō rā i aere mai ai, ko te ara wanaunga, ai mama o rawa e norira, nau mai, wakatau mai, ki roto i tēnei o ngā kaupapa. Just on behalf of the court wānau, just welcoming particularly our manuhiri, our visitors from afar. It's been an exciting project to be involved in right through, and just want to acknowledge on behalf of Karen and Phoebe and Derek and the team the opportunity to bring this connections. All I'm going to really mention are my karakia and my words of welcome are very much from the Indigenous peoples of Aotearoa, New Zealand. and acknowledging our relationships with those of you in America and Australia. It's just an amazing opportunity. So the last thing I'll mention just as I close down is he whātunga tangata, he whātunga mātanga. That's our little byline. It's a little kaupapa that we've carried. It's our little a little proverb, if you like, that we've brought together to really capture what this Connected Education Month is all about. He whātunga tangata is about us joining and sharing as peoples, and he whātunga mātanga is all of the expertise that we bring to the table and share in this virtual and hopefully eventually in a face-to-face situation. Rere e homa, kia kahanga mahi, ki te hoi, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora, thank you so much for that lovely warm welcome to settle us in this morning. And I'd like to echo Whare's greeting and just extend a warm virtual welcome to all of you who have joined us from wherever you have come from, particularly from over in the States and from Victoria in Australia as well. We'll touch on in a moment that relationship that has actually brought us all together as part of this event, but it's wonderful that you've joined us this morning. Everyone's at different time zones, so we really appreciate that. So thank you, Whare, that's wonderful. And what we might do is just, if you're happy, Whare, you can leave your camera on or off. It's entirely up to you. But I wonder if we could start with also, I don't know whether you want to also do a karakia just to settle us in, Whare, or whether we've covered that off. What would be appropriate?
Well, I did. Kia ora, Karen, again, and kia ora again to everybody. It's that karakia, I think, that just came up on the screen. It's if you want to come back a couple of slides, that karakia there is the karakia that we shared, and we can share it again. 2 karakia won't hurt. To be doubly blessed, and we might even do it all together, and you'll see the explanation or the translation down there. But let's have a go in a little bit of te reo. You can even do it in your own American and Australian accents. That will be fine, and we will go together. Kia hora te marino, kia wakapapa paunamu te moana,
Hei
huarahi mātātou, i te rangi nei,
I te rangi nei,
aroha atu,
aroha mai.
tātou i a tātou katoa,
I tā tātou katoa,
hui e taiki. All the best.
Kia ora. Thank you very much, Whare. That's wonderful and a great way to settle us in for this morning. So a brief introduction to me. I'm Karen Malure-Spencer and I'm co-hosting this morning with my colleague Phoebe Davis, who works with me in core education, and together we have tried to bring hopefully a program of events together for certainly for the next few days as a kickoff. And Phoebe, I wonder if you could turn your camera on as well, so to give a bit of a wave to the folks who are here. If I can just ask Phoebe, here we go. Morena and Phoebe, I wonder if I could ask you to say a few words as well as the co-host for this morning.
Tēnā tātai katoa e hui hui mai nei, ngā mihi tuatahi ki a koe whare nei I haka puare nei tā tātou nei, kaupapa mo te marama nei. Greetings everyone, welcome, no mai, haere mai, it's lovely to see you all, and we're going to have a fabulous, wonderful, amazing month. Kia ora koutou.
Kia ora, thank you so much, Phoebe, for that. And so what I would like to do is to share with you and share around the expertise that's in the room this morning. We have some wonderful guests with us, and the focus really just for the next little while is to explore and talk about the involvement of different countries and different regions in Connected Educator Month, what we hope the event will bring to New Zealand and to Victoria, Australia and to the States, and also what it will bring for us all together. Looking at the slides that you've got here in front of you, and just working along that top row, we'll do formal introductions in a minute, but in the room with us today we have Derek Wenmuth, who works with me here at Core Education and who's the Director of e-learning. We have Cheryl Nussbaum-Beach, the driving energy of Connected Educator Month with her colleagues over in the States. We have Sandy Phillips, who is doing exactly the same over in Victoria, Australia. I've also obviously talked about myself and Fare and Phoebe. We have Anthony Faatawa here, who is part of the Core Education Pacifica whānau, and he will be speaking to us briefly as well this morning. And we have Butch, Gary Butch, I think Butch is a preferred name, who is a colleague of Sandy's, and he joins us this morning as well from over in Melbourne. He has his best PJs on, I am assured. So it's wonderful to have you all here. And can I also extend a warm welcome to all of the participants who have joined us this morning. Got a lovely long list of people, and I can see other people kind of joining us as well. So it's really great to have you all here to help us celebrate. So some of the things that we thought we would just touch on, and it won't be a long session, but really for the next 20-25 minutes or so, we really want to just begin to unpack some of these key ideas about why we're all involved in this exciting initiative. It's the third year that it's rolling, certainly in the States. It's our first year here in New Zealand, first year here in Victoria, Australia as well. We'd love to touch on really the opportunities that we see for being connected, the advantages of going global, but also the points of difference that we're bringing to the event as well, and we'll wrap up with some of the things that we've got to look forward to over the coming 31 days. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Cheryl Nussbaum-Beach. And Cheryl, if we can make sure that your camera is on and your oh, I'm just saying that, but I'm just looking to see whether she looks like she might have just dropped away in terms of her connection there. I'm just looking at the list, and it looks like we may have just lost her briefly just at that moment, which is often the way. Computers know when you're about to speak and things like this, and they get very nervous, and then we tend to lose connectivity. Nat, can I just ask you just to keep an eye on the participant list there, and when Cheryl comes back into the room, if you could just quickly promote her back up to presenter, because I think we just lost connection there for the moment. Thank you. But just while we're waiting for Cheryl to join us this morning, and seeing as I can see that Sandy is with us, and Butch, if you want to also turn your camera on, it would be great to hear from both of you. So introducing this morning Sandy, who works as part of the digital learning team in the Department of Education over in Victoria in Melbourne. She and I have had a great time plotting and scheming together over the last few weeks, but I know that she brings a huge experience in global projects, digital leadership, and you can see a summary there of her expertise, and she is joined with her colleague. Wake up Butch, I know it's early, got your cornflakes in a bowl on the table, and Butch works as part of the team over there in Victoria, and he also brings huge specialism in the space of virtual learning with a focus around blended learning and inclusive practice. So what I'd like to invite both of you to do is just to share a little bit about why you guys have got involved, and what you see is in it for Victorian educators with Connected Educator. So I'll kick off over to you, Sandy, just to tell us a little bit about some of the key ideas regarding Connected Educator for you guys over the ditch.
Okay, and I absolutely invite Gary to speak at any time, just butt in. Gary, put your mic on. Good morning, everyone. Kia ora. Interestingly enough, we've got one Cheryl who's from New Zealand who's in Melbourne. I'm actually from Melbourne in Sydney. Gary, where are you?
I'm in Dimboola, which is halfway between Melbourne and Adelaide. Out in the
Right,
bush.
so we've got, yes, and isn't that a fabulous voice? I love it. Good morning, everyone. As I said, kia ora. We were asked, I suppose, by Karen to talk about why we were involved, we became involved in Connected Educator and why we see that it would be benefits for our schools. I thought I'd lay a little bit of the land and I'd do a dreadful generalisation about our teachers, but I think it's important to sort of place a context around what we're doing. We have teachers who are really committed right across, well, Australia, but generally I can speak with knowledge of Victoria. And very much there's a focus on students. So they are really focused on their students. They're doing okay, not complacent. We often get bandied around with terms like, you know, top tier, we've got to perform in all sorts of curriculum outcomes and things like that. And generally, internationally, we do okay, but we've got teachers that work really, really hard and are never quite settled with not doing the best that they can, but not necessarily focusing at all on testing results, really looking at the students that they're teaching. We're very fortunate in that we actually have a really supportive and changing curriculum. We have our own local curriculum, and it's an adaptation now of an Australian curriculum. I don't know if you know the politics around that, but Victoria's been really solid on keeping interdisciplinary strands of learning such as thinking, creating, communication as actually learning outcomes that we have to assess and address in our assessment, which means that they're actually placed within the curriculum. We have a really long history. I have a slide that I go through often which talks about our successes and our challenges that we've had with technology, but generally we've had probably computers in schools for close to, I think, 15 years. I think then we had the internet, you know, 10 years ago, and teacher laptops we had pretty much straight off. But they've all presented challenges with us from the first moment of what on earth are we going to do with these things to now, you know, to take a quote from Professor Stephen Heppel, you know, they can do anything. What is it that we want to do? So that's where we're at. At times, you know, they're not necessarily convinced or seduced by the technology, usually when their broadband drops out and things like that. So we've got a hit and miss rate of using technology. And in a way, there's still a bit of a, have we been seduced by the technology? But the one thing that has seduced our teachers is they can absolutely see the relevance and importance for their students around global learning. And are trying to work out a balance. And we have some fantastic, amazing navigators out there who are testing the water, and we see that Connected Educator is a really great chance for them, but hopefully for them to actually bring, you know, sort of lead the way and lead others with them, because what we don't want this to be is same old, where the same old people get on and do the same stuff they've always been doing. We'd really love to make it an opportunity for teachers who may never have done a virtual conference to have a go at it. I want to introduce Gary just to talk quickly about the sorts of stuff that he has done. The very first time I saw Gary would have been about 12 years ago when we had video conferencing across a couple of secondary schools 100 kilometres apart. And we have distance as an issue, and these kids would not have actually had the opportunity to do the subject areas that they wanted to if it hadn't been for the likes of Gary sort of setting it up and following it through and being loved enough by his community to trust him to do stuff. So Gaz, without blowing too much wind, do you want to talk about just some of the stuff that you've done out in your area? Because Gary keeps it real, or Butch keeps it real. So
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Sandy. And I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which that I am placed here, the Watchapollock people, and pay tribute to their elders past and present. Look, thank you very much, Sandy. You really blow me up and make me sound really, really great. And it's the people whom I work with that make things really work well, and that's why I'm really excited about the Connected Educator Month. Is that, like you said, there are people there who are sitting poised, ready to pounce, I believe, and this is going to give them the opportunity to dip their toe in the water. And we've been connecting schools with teachers and students via video conferencing, and certainly I visited New Zealand and had a look at what they were doing quite a few years ago, and we've adapted what I saw in New Zealand and have continued to adapt that to our needs, and that has been growing steadily across the state, and that has been really, really exciting. And we've also been now expanding out into the provision of language, because language has been a high priority of our government. And so in order to do that out into our smaller primary schools in the rural and remote areas of Victoria, using our digital tools is our only means. And so we really need to upskill our staff and ensure that they are not out there on their own, and that in fact that they are connected. We are really, really fortunate in Victoria that we have a fantastic internet connection into every school across the state. And so connectivity should not be an issue. Of course, naturally it is technology, and so it does have some ups and downs. We also have a fantastic video conferencing network, Polycom video conferencing network, which is also integrated with Microsoft Link. So in terms of being able to utilise synchronous connections, we are really well placed within our schools across the entire state. Upskilling the staff is another matter, and that's what I think the Connected Educator Month will be able to really, really help out. Sandy?
Yep, might jump there. You know, what we're hoping that Connected Educator can do, just jumping off from where Butch sort of ended there, was seeing a purpose to actually put the hard yards in behind the technology. So we're hoping that it will inspire some ideas, some conversations. We hope it will help them clarify their own ideas around learning. I've got a great story, a colleague of Butch's, Joe, who is actually in Bali at the moment on school holidays, which I figure many of your teachers are also on school holidays. But she tells a great story about how if it's not relevant for her own students, she wouldn't ever do it. So whilst it is all you know, it's a fabulous experience and has opened many doors to great, exciting sort of events, if that wasn't about learning for her kids, she would not see the importance of it. We also see an opportunity for partnerships. You know, Karen and I and the team at CORE have worked pretty long and hard, sort of pulling a few bits and pieces together and sorting a few, I suppose, challenges out, and hopefully we've ironed all of those out, and you won't know a thing about them. They never really occurred, so I should stop talking about them. Opportunities for the navigators to lead and to connect to learning. And that's one of my, I suppose, big bugs. Karen and I sat in the very first day that we have never actually physically met, but I feel like we could do a cocktail or something like that at some point or other, maybe not at 5 o'clock this morning, but you know, that we both are passionate that this is not just about a talk fest, that there is an absolute connection to learning, and so that there is that teachers see a relevance for themselves and what they can offer their students, and that it gives them an experience to use technologies in real learning situations. So, you know, hearing opinions of different people and sort of seeing the relevance for themselves by actually doing it themselves. So leading to confidence and relevance for them to bring that to use with their students.
And also, look, to add on to that as well, Sandy, I'm really excited. I think that we'll get a bit of a cross-section of teachers who will be looking at just connecting within the state, but I also think that there will be quite a number who will be looking at connecting across the ditch to New Zealand to activities and also to the States. And hopefully we see that reciprocation as well. We'll certainly be providing some sessions via Polycom, the Polycom network, which is capable for externals to dial in, no problem at all, and I'll be facilitating most of those. We'll also be doing a lot of stuff through Blackboard Collaborate, and again, that is accessible by all. So hopefully there'll be lots of things that we can actually do together, plus some other online and chat type constructed activities as well, so through Twitter. So very exciting times. Back to you.
Yep. Oh, and we've also put up some events that are just, I suppose, little showcases around just go and explore in asynchronous time. You know, opened up some book chat rooms in different spaces and put up some just anywhere, anytime events that people can go and have a sticky beak through. So that's what we're hoping to offer up. But we've been really lucky in that it's whilst we are from the Victorian Education Department, we've actually had people from across Australia who have contacted us and asked about participating. We have a number of different organisations that are Australian-led organisations that will bring in things like arts, like media, cyber safety, stuff like that. So lots of different events that are starting to gather. It's really interesting. We had a lot of promises early, and I think people were like, oh, just got to work out how this works out, and now we're starting to see them roll on in. But one thing we do want to do is we want to acknowledge the work that's been done, Cheryl, and the, I suppose, the pioneers of Connected Educator over the last several years in the States. We are aware that we've got teachers who joined it, but it's just delightful to be a partner organisation in that. Without a doubt, thank you very much to the team at CORE. Karen and I, as I said, have connected on a number of occasions, and hopefully it will all work out seamlessly on the night. Delighted to work with New Zealand Educators and CORE. We see the expansion as a global event from Connected Educator as a no-brainer. You know, it's what the technology does beautifully, and we're honoured and excited to be part of it. And we're not going to sit back and watch. We want our teachers to dive right in, and we've had a look at the events that have been offered, and it's a great opportunity for them, and it's a great opportunity, I suppose, for all of us to connect. So thank you. I think that'll be enough from me. And Butch, do you want to leave with a final word?
Oh, just final word is that we're very excited about it, and yeah, it's going to be great. Let's hope our people get on board.
Yep.
Kia ora. Thank you.
Kia ora.
Thank you both so much for giving us that overview, and I'm hoping you can hear me. As with all of these things, some workmen have just started drilling the road outside of here, so hopefully you can hear me okay, and the trains are going past this room where I am. So hey, look, that's just wonderful, and I agree in terms of acknowledging the support of the pioneers on whose shoulders we stand for Connected Educator Month, and which segues really beautifully into introducing Cheryl this morning, who I know she has been battling some connectivity issues, and that flexibility is really all part and parcel of being a modern educator today, I think. Now, I know that she has worked with Derek to secure a connection through Skype via the Christchurch offices, so I'm hoping, although the chat pod seems to have disappeared. Oh no, it's kind of fading in and out slightly. Okay. Can I hand over, Derek, to you to see if we can manage a connection with Cheryl, and so we can hear her this morning?
Kia ora, Karen, and I've got Cheryl sitting waiting. I'll just check. Cheryl, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you wonderfully. Can everybody hear me?
It seems like it, Cheryl. So without further ado, I'm going to get out of the way and let you speak. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I got to tell you, it's hilarious. I don't usually have bandwidth problems. I have biosphere, fiber optics, and things are usually flying and people are jealous. But I told Derek, because I know him well, I said, well, having been in New Zealand, I know the challenges that happen there. I'll just tell everybody I met my bandwidth cap. So anyway, I apologize having become this way, but you know, what a great teachable moment, because it says to us that if you have in your repertoire several different types of strategies, then there's always going to be a workaround, and you don't have to be scared of the technology not working. So such is the case. I'm Cheryl Nussbaum Beach. I am the CEO and co-founder of Powerful Learning Practice. I also serve many, you might know, the organization ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education. I serve on the executive board for ISTE, and I am here representing Connected Educator Month. I am helping to co-chair the event this year with a great core team of people that have been putting it together. This is our third year in the United States for Connected Educator Month. The first 2 years we were actually sponsored by the United States Department of Education. Last year with about 14 million different people on Twitter, 250 something blog posts, and lots of participating organizations. And this year we had just sort of outgrown the kinds of things that we wanted to do that one can't sometimes have their hands tied and can't do when they're sitting underneath the United States Department of Education. So we now this year are collectively owned, including all of you in New Zealand and all of you in Victoria, Australia. We are truly global this year in that Norway and both of your countries are running parallel Connected Educator Months. And so we know that through the people that are the organizations here in the States, such as our theme leaders, and then also all the people from around the world that are participating, we truly are collectively owned this year. The history that we have is that Connected Educator Month is typically run by themes. And when Derek and Derek Winlock from New Zealand, and then of course Lynn Davey from Victoria contacted and said, hey, how about if we did this thing together this year? I couldn't have been more stoked. I had so much fun meeting Karen and team when I was in Victoria. I didn't get a chance to meet Sandy, but we kind of put our heads together and thought, is there a way to use a common calendar, and can we launch the events at the same time? Of course, being in the future, we have to look to you to see if it's going to be a great launch, because we don't launch until tomorrow. But we know that we have lots of folks who are putting on their customized calendars events they're going to attend in both of your countries, and so we are very excited for the global collaboration that will take place with everyone. And so I just want to wish you well. I want to say, way to go, good job, congratulations on your very successful launch. I've been able to peek into the background and see how the staff there at CORE and in Victoria, the team there, have been working like mad to get this up and ready and to make sure it's going to have the kind of quality that that we would expect coming from your side of the world. And so congratulations on a job well done. I look forward to seeing a lot of you peeking into our events where the time zones work out, and you can count on seeing me at different events that you have once I reboot this router and figure out what's wrong with my connectivity. So thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your kickoff, and thank you, Derek, for allowing me to come in this back door through Skype, and I hope everybody was able to hear me. Thank you very much.
It seems from the last call that we were. Yeah. Karen.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I'm just really want to thank you, Cheryl, for your flexibility and persistence this morning, and thanks, Derek, for sorting that out. You came through loud and clear, and your leadership and generosity, Cheryl, in allowing us to really build on the best of your work in the last 2 years. And also I'd like to acknowledge as well 2 colleagues of Cheryl's, Tom de Boer and Marshall Conley, who are working with Cheryl as part of the US team. They're not with us this morning, but they have been extraordinarily helpful over the last few weeks as we have geared up to rolling out through this October. So just want to acknowledge their part in this as well. And with Derek there and working with Cheryl, and obviously Derek has known Cheryl for a while, I'd actually also like to now invite Derek to say a few words. Derek, based down in Christchurch, and the director of e-learning here in Core Education, and lots of other strings to his bow as well. But it was Derek with his conversations with Lynn Davey over in Victoria and with Cheryl as well that really planted the seed of this, probably more than a year or so ago. So it's Derek who will have some very clear ideas about what he would like to see happening this month, I'm sure. But Derek, can I invite you just briefly to say really what kicked it all off for you and what you see as being the big opportunity for us all in terms of being part of Connected Educator Month?
Thanks, Karen. Well, first of all, kia ora to Butch and to Sandy in Australia and to all the others online. This is kind of one of those days. I'm probably not as nervous as Karen, but have been looking forward to this with great anticipation. And just want to acknowledge as well Cheryl and her flexibility. We were working in the background with a bit of nervousness. And acknowledging the history that's there. Cheryl just wanted to acknowledge also Darren Cambridge as one of the people in that team that's making it work in America. And I guess that is indicative of the depth of connectivity that's beginning to develop through this. So the excitement that I have about taking Connected Educator Month to the fore really comes from two things, two key drivers. The first is really the idea of the impact of globalization and the importance of being connected to where the ideas are. I think through my career as an educator, I've seen this transition emerging. But certainly when I started, it was very much professional development that was something that was done to you or for you. And it was very much about meeting a set of expectations that were externally set. It was as if there was a pattern of behavior, a pattern of expectations, certain standards you had to meet. So all you had to do was learn about the new initiative or learn about this new thing. We're in a world now where that thinking and those ideas are emerging in pockets all over the place, and we can no longer rely or depend on a central kind of service or a central agency or whoever setting those ideas in motion and being determined they are the right ones or the best ones, because we understand the importance of context, or the importance of the authentic nature of the experience for each person and each individual. So I think Connected Educator for me powerfully illustrates the idea of connecting to source and the power of what George Simons refers to as connectivism. The idea that the developing wisdom, the knowledge is generated in those spaces between us. And so the more connections we have, the more knowledge is created, and there's a wealth of that being generated in these sorts of forums. I think the second thing that is really exciting to me is that this Connected Educator Month powerfully illustrates the way that we can overcome what is probably one of the greatest impediments in our system, and that is the notion of isolationism, that we feel isolated or have been isolated, whether it's geographically or temporally. We can feel we're isolated and often withdrawn and not getting the opportunities that others have. And Connected Educator, there's no excuse to be isolated. You just look up the calendar, you find the people you want to connect with, you find the event, the thing that's going to interest you, and you just connect to it. And I think, picking up on what Sandy and Butch have said, we've got the same hope for Christchurch and New Zealand as well, that it's not only about connecting to it and drawing on others, but actually thinking, actually, I've got something to contribute here. And it's as simple as that, to put something up and share the best practice and good ideas that you have. So I think those are my two main drivers, the enthusiasm I have, and want to acknowledge, Karen, the incredibly hard work you've done on behalf of the New Zealand team, and I'm sure it's the same acknowledging Butch and Sandy in Australia, and of course we're deeply indebted to Cheryl and her team in the US. So enough from me. I think this is wonderful. We look forward to a growing sense of participation in all three areas. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Derek. And I think you really hit the nail on the head there. I mean, this session is proof positive, you know, a tiny little window into what can be possible as connectivity improves and as people grow more confident in the way that they can use technologies for themselves, which then has a spill-on effect to the way that we can design learning for our learners. Because that's really what this is all about, is trying to provide both a celebration and momentum to working in ways that are blended and connected. So it doesn't mean that the face-to-face isn't important, but the face-to-face plus the online plus those different networks that we can draw on to make us all better educators than we were yesterday or last year, because we know that our learners' needs never stop changing, and we're wanting to design learning that's as inclusive and responsive as we can. And I think that's really what this kind of month, certainly to me, that's why I kind of, you know, jumped in boots and all for Connected Educator Month, because I know just even from personal experience that having access to this global staff room where I know who to ask, or I can pick up on new ideas and great thinking and open research and windows into people's rooms that were previously closed, that I don't think we could ever go back now to a model in which the teacher operated within four walls and no one really knew what was going on. And I think this can all make us all better practitioners. So that's what my hope is, that if even, you know, one educator who has never really tried this way of working, this kind of online, weaving the digital technologies into their professional learning, if the month provides just one small opportunity for each person to try one new thing, or to enhance their own practice by participating in one event, then it will have been worth it. All those late nights, it'll all have been absolutely worth it. So so that's just to really build on there what Derek has said. You know, it's a great opportunity for everyone to find a little doorway in over the next 31 days. So everyone, I'm sure, will be able to find their step up. What I would like to do now is to invite Whare and Phoebe back to the mic again, and you might want to turn on your cameras. I'm just double checking that Whare, just to make sure that he is able to access us. But I would really like to invite Phoebe and Whare to say a few words with a particular focus on Whare. I've just made sure that you're promoted back up to presenter again, so that might have been the issue there. But I wanted to ask Phoebe and Whare to say a few words about how they felt Connected Educator Month, particularly here in New Zealand, would have, something rather strange seems to have just happened to the layout here, so I'm just going to double check what's happened here. I think someone might have just hit a bit of something with the layout. Going to see what the issue is here, but just while I'm sorting out the way that the room is appearing, to invite Phoebe and Whare to just share a few words about why they think Connected Educator Month is of real value, particularly around Māori learners and Māori educators here in New Zealand. And I'll just hand over the mic to you guys there. Maybe start with Phoebe while I just see if I can get the slides back up for us.
Tēnā tātou katoa anō, kia ora everyone again. In terms of Māori kaya educators, also in kohanga reo and kura kaupapa, it's about sharing and collaborating together to make a difference in terms of our students And what better way to do that is to be connected. We're often isolated in rural communities, and to be able to be connected firstly with each other and also globally is just makes a difference. And I think it has also been wonderful in terms of supporting the teaching and learning that's going on within the classroom. I think Sandy talked about that too, in terms of what's happening across lands over there in Australia and how that makes a difference in terms of being collaborative with our teachers and hooking up with each other. And so it's been difficult because it's new for many Māori teachers, and they've struggled at times to get connected, and we keep supporting and promoting and modelling, good modelling practice, but it's happening, and the connections are wonderful. Kia ora. Whare.
Yeah, kia ora tātou. Tēnā koe, Phoebe. The whanaungatanga, we talk a lot about whanaungatanga in terms of one of our prime values, and it's really about sharing and connecting, and a lot of the discussion and debate that we did as Indigenous people here in Aotearoa, and in fact peoples throughout the land. I think we're just a big race of humans that like to connect and share and learn, and the opportunity that technology has given for our Māori learners has been huge. Of course, our statistics in terms of Māori student achievement here in Aotearoa is very similar to Indigenous peoples throughout the world, and technology has given us the opportunity to create opportunities that are relevant to students on an individual and a sort of group level, and I don't think we should underestimate that all. There's certainly a bit of a challenge in terms of how we incorporate that technology into our Māori medium schools here in New Zealand, but we have very strong, Phoebe and I and our Māori team here, we've got quite a big Māori team, have very strong connects into Indigenous communities throughout the country, particularly those ones over the ditch there, Butch and Sandy. We've got some good connects over there, and of course into the North American side of our Indigenous whānau over there and into the islands. So again, technology is allowing us to have those conversations quickly, share easily, and there's a few of us are dragging the chain in terms of getting online and working in a virtual world. So we still prefer that face-to-face connect. We can't forget that, of course. But that an opportunity that Connected Education Month is going to allow us to stretch the network, and not just within us as ourselves, our Indigenous communities, but just as educators. I said earlier, keep the hoi. That means let's get on this waka and all paddle together. And I'm looking forward to a great month. And again, big ups to Karen and Phoebe and the team. Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora, and tautoko. I agree with everything you said, and I've also been working with our Māori communities. A big part of our mahi is about whānau engagement, and what better way to do that as well is getting them connected to the kura, to the schools, to the kaiako, whether it's in social media or through other ways of communicating online. It's been wonderful, and that's really made a difference that I've seen and experienced in terms of the learning and teaching. So kia ora koutou katoa. Thanks. Back to you, Karen.
Kia ora, and I think we've had some great conversations, and it's a massive learning for me and a massive learning for all of us about how to use technologies and to create online learning that is still culturally located, so that when we think about how we might adapt and refine a face-to-face meeting so that we use the language and the protocols that are inclusive of everybody with us, trying to do the same online continues to be a really great space for us to learn and explore. It's something that Phoebe and I have talked a lot about, and the core is definitely looking to see how we can keep refining that so that sessions like this one are as inclusive as we would make face-to-face sessions as well. So it's even little things like having our cameras on, being able to see each other face-to-face, being able to start with karakia, you know, these things are small things, but I think are really, you know, important first steps forward, I think. So I'd like to acknowledge your participation in this session as well, Phoebe and Fare. That's wonderful. And what I would also like to do is introduce Anthony, who is with us this morning as well. And Anthony Faitawa is part of our Pacifica whānau down based in Christchurch, but he brings a team with him, standing behind him, I know. And I wanted to invite Anthony to represent CORE and his colleagues this morning with a few words, really to look at Connected Educator Month from a perspective of Pacifica peoples and the languages that are spoken right across New Zealand and obviously out towards the Pacific Islands as well. Anthony, can I ask you to, I'm just looking, actually, Anthony looks like he might just have dropped away. Oh no, Anthony, you're there. I'm just going to make sure, sure that I can hear you. Just want to make sure that your camera's working.
Yeah, we're still here. And you got a camera.
That's wonderful. Do you want to turn your camera on and start sharing?
All right, see me? Morena, talofa everyone, and warm Pacifica greetings to all our visitors. Thank you, Karen, for the introduction. Yes, I'm representing here our Pacifica team from Core Education. We have a very small team, 7 of us, and 3 of us that really mainly work within schools. I'd just like to add on from what Whare finished on, and that's about jumping on a waka so we can all row together into this 21st century and connecting with educators for this month. When Karen and Phoebe flicked us an email and asked us would we be keen to jump on this waka and be connected with everyone around the globe, we just jumped at it and said yes. We'd love to have our Pacifica voice out there. So the opportunity for that was absolutely amazing. I know that we have Pacifica team all around New Zealand, and they are probably in here and supporting me from behind, because as we know, as Pacifica people, we don't come as just one individual, we come as a group or a community. And for us to jump on this waka to connect with others and to share our ideas, to share our practice, to hear what other practices are going on around the global, it's only going to be much better for us to go work with schools and facilitate the schools. The biggest advantage for us really is how we connect with others, and we hope that we can connect with others in the islands. Hopefully that they will be jumping on over this month. I think also that one of the key issues, and I'll keep it very short, one of the key things that we're trying to do here in New Zealand is connecting the schools with the Pacifica parents, families and communities. It's one of the ways of strategically really raising our Pacifica achievement. And if we could do that through the use of technology, I know a lot of our Pacifica kids are socially equipped on Facebook and other social media. And if we can help our community to be more equipped and be more confident in using online tools in a more educative way, then we are working on the right track. But here representing just a small Pacifica team and Core Education, a huge, on behalf of the team, a huge whakatei lava. I thank you to you, Karen and Phoebe and the team for allowing the Pacifica team voice to be heard on this Educator Month. We're excited, we're very excited. We've also got some things to share for this month, and hopefully that will help share our practice and hear other ideas of what's going on around the global, so we can develop our PD around raising achievement for our Pacifica learners. So one more final thing, it is Tuvalu Language Week this week, which is Talofa, similar to Samoan greeting, means hello. And then next week we will kick off with Fijian Language Week. And then we've got a few more other language weeks, which is the Niuean Language Week and the Tokelauan Language Week. So huge month for Pacifica. And we have a White Sunday to celebrate in a couple of weeks' time. So it is a huge month. But thank you for giving the Pacifica team an opportunity to share online.
Great.
Ka pai, everyone.
Whakatai lava, Anthony, that's just wonderful, and you did a great job there of drawing people's attention to the number of events that have been pledged throughout the calendar that really celebrate different Pacifica languages, and I know that there are also sessions that have been pledged to the calendar around engagement of family and community and whānau and what that means for enhancing education for our Pacifica learners as well. So thank you for that, and appreciate your involvement and commitment as well with that. So without further ado, and I'm keeping just a wee eye on the time, I would like to really just draw the final threads of this session to a close. This is the beginning of we've got about another 4 or 5 sessions running just through today, and then continuing through tomorrow and into Friday as part of the first 3 days in our launch week. And of course, in a few hours, the launch events begin into Victoria and through into America as everyone else wakes up. and so it's an incredibly exciting week for us, and I know that somebody in the room will grab the link for me for the launch events of the CEM website, and to just pop it into the chat, and it obviously appears there on the slide as well. So for anyone either with us today or watching this recording possibly later today or tomorrow, I'd really like to encourage people to jump in and to take part, and to really just pick a pathway through some of the events that are happening. I'd also encourage people to make sure that they sign up for, there's a New Zealand newsletter that will be coming out each week, just to keep people on top of some of the great things that are on offer for everyone's professional learning through the month. And there's also a newsletter that comes out from the team over in the US as well. So encouraging people to stay on top of the news so you don't miss a thing, and to keep an eye on the tags in Twitter and Google Plus over the month, and Facebook as well, to so people can actually find. It would be impossible, I think, to do everything, but to find those particular events and activities speak to what your own learners need and what your colleagues need to take the next step in terms of this online, connected, networked approach to professional learning. So I just want to go around the room and invite everyone just to say a final thank you and final words, and then I'll hand over to Whare to close the session with karakia. So final words over there to Sandy and Butch. Might be time for second breakfast, but just a couple of final words from you guys.
Quick one from me. Just yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. Good luck, everyone. Hope to see you online.
Okay, hope to see you all online, and yeah, just encourage people who have never tried anything to try it just once, because I'm sure they'll love it. It's contagious. Thank you.
Thanks for being here this morning. That's wonderful. And down into Christchurch, final words from Derek, and I'm not sure whether Cheryl is with you as well, but possibly final words from you guys today.
Kia ora, Karen. I'll just see whether Cheryl's on here to say her final words before me.
I am here. I've been listening with great interest and tweeting out some of the wonderful things that you've been saying. I just want to once again encourage everyone who's listening to this either live now or on the archive to get online this month, challenge yourself, take yourself out of your comfort zone, try to find people to connect with, attend some of the things in another country, and just really selfishly give yourself the month of October to learn something new and to grow as a connected educator. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your kickoff.
Kia ora, Cheryl. And from Anthony and I, that's why his name appeared under me when I was speaking before. We're sitting here together. For Anthony and I, we'd just say the same thing. Thank you so much for the opportunity to participate. Great to see the numbers on board. Looking forward to participating with you all during the month.
Kia ora. A final word from Phoebe and then over to Whare.
Kei kona, Phoebe.
Ai, ke konei. Kia ora, everyone. Thank you so much, Butch, Sandy, Cheryl, Karen, everyone, Whare, and also Derek and Anthony. It's been a wonderful morning, and all our people that have come to listen, our core whānau, everyone else, other educators. It's going to be an amazing, inspiring month. I look forward to being connected to each and every one of you again. Kia ora tātou.
Yeah, tautoko ngā mihi. Well done, everybody. It's been feel like we've connected on this very first morning. He whatu tangata, he whatu ngā tangata, he whatu ngā mātanga, te kaupapa o tēnei marama. And me hana to all of our manuhiri over there and across the ditch and over there up in America. We acknowledge you guys, and we're looking forward to just working during the month. So we'll share this karakia wakamutunga. Kia waka iri hea te tapu, kia wā te ai te ara, kia tūruki wakatahai, kia tūruki wakatahai. Hui e, tai ki e, kia paitara. Have a good day, everybody.
Kia ora. That's wonderful. I'll let people slide away now. It's definitely time for coffee here in New Zealand. And a final word. I love the picture on this slide that if we didn't the world, we wouldn't be here. So let's see one step at a time what we can change in the next 31 days. Thank you so much. I know we'll keep connecting. In half an hour, Phoebe and I will be back here with Tara to give people a taster of the starter kete. So people are very welcome to join us at 10:30. Otherwise, coffee, cornflakes, evening meal, whatever part of the day you're in, it's time for a wee break. So thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you really soon. Ka kite. Kia ora.